Next Prime Live. Remember, we are on your screens every single Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, tonight we are chatting to Nazia Salejie. Now, she is definitely someone who is an addiction counselor, but also a life coach in that. Now, it's such an important conversation that we are going to be having with her in particular, just in terms of the work that she does when it comes to substance abuse, as well as making sure that she assists as many people in the line of motivational speaking as well. Nasa, thank you so much for joining us on INX Prime Live.
It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure having you. I just want to get straight into this conversation now. It's so important. You are a life coach in that sense and a motivational coach. How has it helped you in terms of the work that you do when it comes to awareness of substance abuse as well?
So, the thing about substance abuse prevention and awareness campaigns is that you've got to be a motivated individual who is able to be self aware enough to help people find their way through the darkness. So, we literally guide people through their difficult moments by coaching them and saying, you need to become unstuck. So, going through a personal journey yourself is important, and that helps people find their way through their journeys as well.
No, definitely. I want to touch on, a lot of our young people in South Africa. Substance abuse is something that affects a lot of young people. We are going to chat about that as well. But I want to understand, in terms of your role as a counselor at Lifetime Wellness, tell me a little bit more. What does that entail?
So basically, I assist people through various issues, not just substance abuse or substance use recovery. We're talking about couples counseling, individual counseling. It's actually Mental Health Awareness Month now in October, and there is a huge need for more counselors, for us to have diverse approaches, but also to network together and assist people in a greater way.
Definitely. And also just looking at the work that you guys do, I know it's very important that we have, platforms like this. Let's talk about our young people in the country. Now, we know that, as much as we do have a lot of incredible young people, very talented, hardworking, ambitious, a lot of them are unemployed, right? A lot of them are going through issues like depression. A lot of them are even considering suicide, unfortunately. And they have a lot of these issues in South Africa. Obviously, a lot of that ties down to substance abuse. It could either be the reason for it, or they could end up leading to it, What's your opinion on young people in South Africa in terms of the number of young people that are struggling with this challenge, and how do we solve it?
I think number one, we face a stigma here when it comes to substance abuse and people reaching out for help, especially young people. I believe that substance abuse is actually a symptom of a problem. We need to get down to the root of the issue, whether it's boredom, escapism, whether it's something that they don't want to deal with. Maybe it's rooted in trauma, and some it's pure boredom or for love of recreational activities, which is drugging. It's their chosen, recreational activity. So we need to get to the root. The symptom is the drug. The root of the problem is whatever triggers them to use. And like I said, mental health awareness, we've got people who are self-mutilating, young people who form groups, and their thing that keeps them together or binds them is self-mutilation. We find them, taking on different very dangerous habits. It's not just about substances, it's also behaviors like internet gaming. We're talking about, different types of eating disorders. You have groups of them who are actually pressuring each other in the form of peer pressure, and they actually feel they're most seen when they're indulging in these unhealthy behaviors.
It's quite interesting, but also very scary at the same time. I'm just going to look at some of the questions and comments coming in from social media.
Sure.
We have Imran as well saying, the biggest problem in South Africa is that we have all these case studies, and we're showing, all these individuals on social media where they're living these flashy lifestyles, and it's encouraging a lot of, young people to go and dream, but also putting a lot of pressure on them. We're not putting enough case studies out there when we talk about the results of what drug abuse and substance abuse can do to a person, from start to finish in that kind of a model. And if more people can know what can actually come from it, I think a lot of people will actually think twice getting into something like that. What's your thoughts on that?
So absolutely. I think when it comes down to sharing case studies, and reaching into the raw of what makes an individual want to use, it's really subjective. Each individual has their different reason for why they use. They have their different chosen kind of drug. It's so vast and it's so interesting. That is why it's a specialized field, and we need more young people to get talking. We need religious leaders to get involved. The youth need more recreational activities. They need to be exposed to different. The unemployment rate is so high, and if you look at the number of young people who are at home and who have actually lost motivation, they're not even looking for jobs or opportunities anymore. What alternatives are we giving them? What is available to them to say, okay, don't choose drugging, but then what else do we choose? If we go around the corner and we find a hookah pipe at every corner and, a group of people, smoking, what role modeling are we doing for our young people?
Yeah.
And we've got individuals who have come from these communities, who have achieved so much, who need to go back to their communities and show young people what success really looks like. Because right now we have drug dealers showing young people what success looks like.
Yeah, and that's horrible, and it is something that's so common, and we see it everywhere, right? And we're seeing it in all the different very high-profile venues. We're seeing it on social media. That needs to definitely change. I want to touch on exactly what you're mentioning now, and I can see the complementary element of what you're doing in terms of substance abuse awareness and life coaching, because they do kind of tie into each other quite nicely.
Yeah.
I want to touch on your life coaching work as well, right?
Yeah.
I know that you play a lot of important roles in helping, clients and companies as well, find the value of leadership skills, but also making sure that people empower themselves as well.
Yes.
Why would you say those two things are so important? I mean, leadership and empowerment.
Because if you make an individual realize their potential and their purpose, they become so obsessed with their purpose that they won't be easily distracted. That's the role of a life coach. It's to make somebody discover their gifts, their talents, what they're capable of, and say, yes, your situation might be bad. Maybe things happen to you that you couldn't control, trauma or whatever the case is. But what can you do? What power do you have in your situation? Let's focus on that, expand on that, and help you become unstuck. Because, I saw this very interesting quote, and I don't know, I can't for the life of me remember who said it, but he said, there is nothing wrong with you that what is right with you cannot fix. So if we show people, yes, this is wrong, but you have every resource, every tool, everything necessary to fix yourself. I'm just here as a medium to help you, a facilitator, someone, a catalyst. That's what a life coach is.
Yeah. And you play such an important role. I'm just looking at some of the other questions and comments coming in from social media as well. It's more comments than questions. People are saying that, your friends play such an important role in determining where you go in life, and people sometimes discount that too much. Yes. I can see you agree with that completely.
Totally. Because I tell my clients, even in group therapy with substance use recovery, I say to them, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And I think 99.9% of the time, looking at the friends, you can completely see, number one, what role you play in the group dynamic. Who are you? Are you the influencer? Are you the clown? Are you the influenced? Are you, what role do you play? Also, why do you choose those people? Do you seek validation? That's a drug too, because social media is all about validation, right? So we look at, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And I also tell the clients all the time, if you want to soar like an eagle, quit hanging with the chickens.
That's very, very powerful, actually. I want to touch on something else. Another comment as well that came in away from friends is also the fact of a mindset shift, right? A lot of people in South Africa, and I mean, they elaborated on it, is that we have a lot of issues with, obviously because of what happened during apartheid, but there's a sense of a limitation of what can actually be achieved based on the kind of environment we put in.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to be unlearned in that sense,
Yes.
How do you feel about the importance of mindset development over anything else in that space?
Very important. I mean, I often say environment, everything, heredity, nothing. That's what I learned in matric. It was my set book called Maru. And I remember they said environment, everything, heredity, nothing. And when you come to find certain people, it's like a father who's an alcoholic. He's got two sons. One becomes an alcoholic because of his father, and the other never touches alcohol because of his father. We're talking about the same environment, the same triggering factors, but two completely different choices because of two completely different mindsets. Motivational factor is the root. So what motivates, what drives an individual? You can call us auto electricians of the mind if you must. We run diagnostics and we're able to see. There's no generalization. I can't say that this is something that is a blanketed approach, you know.
Yeah.
You've got to look at a person, each case according to its merit. And oftentimes you'll find that the underlying factor is something the person didn't even, it was a blind spot. They're like, I didn't even know that affected me to the point where I became stuck in my own life, you know. So it's just get unstuck and get moving.
Look, I mean, I think you're a really cool life coach. You make it very easy to have conversations with the life coach, and I think that's a great thing. So I want to touch on how do people get hold of you? Now, we know that you do work with Lifetime Wellness,
Yes.
but if someone wants to do some mentorship with you or motivational content, or even perhaps work with you in terms of what you do at Lifetime Wellness, how do people get into contact with you?
Okay, so they can get me on social media. It's lifetimewellness.inc on Instagram, and then they can contact me directly on WhatsApp. It's 082-779-5287.
Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, look, Nazia, it's been an absolute honor to chat to you as well. And, you know, you're definitely doing some amazing work. Thank you so much for joining us here at INX Prime.
Such a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, guys. That is Nazia Salejie, who is actually a life coach as well as an addiction counselor at Lifetime Wellness. She does incredible work making sure that she, you know, obviously prevents substance abuse in that sense, but also to create enough awareness and exposure to make sure that young people make better decisions. Away from that, she's also a life coach that's out there to help you to inspire and motivate. Now, on that note, we are going to take a quick ad break. We'll come right back.